Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, everybody? All right. Good deal. Good deal. All right. This is going to be a very interesting topic here in coverage. Um, Quite a bit of homework on this one. Um, this is in reference to the kids that were taken literally. There was kids that were taken up in Vinton, Ohio, in Hamden, about 90 miles south of Columbus. Pam, thank you for the gift, Pam. Appreciate you always supporting this channel. And it's a very interesting case because it's very heartbreaking. And you're going to see this. You want to share this out. And if you haven't, you want to let other people know about this, what we're fixing to cover, because send this out to your friends, people that you know, and tell them, hey, they might want to watch it. This is going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one because it's real America. It's the things that we're going through in life. It's everything that we see that's happening. It's real time. And you might want to go ahead and let your friends and people that you follow on other streams come on in and have this conversation. I think this is definitely going to be mind-blowing in a lot of ways. So without further ado, welcome everybody. Let me get everybody in here. Ocean Ways, morning. Carol, good morning. Doug, good morning. AJ, good morning. Al, good morning. Carol, good morning. Al, Pam, thank you so much for the gift. Appreciate you. And this is the time, everybody. And if you want to help out on the channel and you want to support the channel and help it grow, you can give to one of the things that we have set up, whether it's Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or if you want to help to grow, you can buy memberships for others, or if you want to just go ahead and help with gifts, whatever. There's so many ways you can help out. But we are growing. Make no mistake, we are growing. So with that, let's get going. 2C's in the house. Good to have you, 2C. All right, everybody. So the case today is about the children that were rescued from this house, a house that is now known as the House of Horror by the sheriff of the area, of the county, and also just heartening. And when I get into this, you're going to understand why I say that. Oh, it's going to be very overwhelming. So let me start off at the beginning. We know what happened. They went to serve a warrant to Sider Jr., Gary Sider Jr. They went to serve a warrant at his house for indecent exposure over 4 days. And in the process of them serving this warrant in Hamden, Ohio, they went, served the warrant, and as they came into the door, when they started hearing noises, and they started taking like the boarded up windows type deal down. They started to hear noises. And as they went in, they found 16 children in that house. It's a tiny house, everybody. Most of them were in a 12 by 12 room, where it has been said that that's usually where they stayed. That's where they pretty much resided, was in that room. Can't make this shit up, everybody. Click like, subscribe, everybody. This is going to be a good live, and it's definitely going to be heartbreaking. So now that this has happened, they get the kids out. Two of them are airlifted to near hospitals. One is taken, is put on intensive care, and the other ones are taken to the hospital so that they can go ahead and try to get them better, like see what's wrong with them. They're malnutrition, they're skinny, they're thin. And understand, I'm going to say this just because I have to say this. This is all opinions and theories, but make no mistake, I did my homework on this, so it's more than that. So, good morning, DD, says Tusi. Thank you, L, for posting that. PayPal, thank you. There's my email if you want to send me anything as far as information. I appreciate it. Absolutely heartbreaking, says AJ. Glad you made it in, Tusi. Horrible, sick. I know, SOB. So, click the likes, everybody. Click the likes. Share this out. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good one. So, we know the story of what happened. And we know that they came in and they took these kids to the hospital. And now there are 16 literally indictments against the four oldest, the husband and the wife, the dad, the grandfather and grandmother. 16 indictments in all. They're looking each one at 192 years in prison. For good reason. That I can say. Doug, very tough story to follow. Domination, in my opinion. No doubt about it, Doug. Well said. So what has happened is, I'm going to first read you, or I'm first going to talk about the issues at hand. Gary Siders Sr., this is the grandfather. He is out on bail. He is hospitalized. He had fallen down on the transport. He had fell down, and when taken to the doctors stated that he needed medical attention, serious medical attention. Welcome in, Bible. And because of that, they went ahead, and as the prosecutor who's prosecuting this case, along with two other ladies from different entities that are going to be helping him prosecute this case, he stated that due to the fact that they are in their custody, Melly, welcome in, Melly. Oleg, welcome in. Gronsky, welcome in. Because of the fact that they have them in custody. Anytime, let me step back here because there's so much here. Many times when you get arrested, the department is responsible for you. If they have you in their jail, they feed you, they give you your jumpers or whatnot. You have 3 meals a day, and you live in a cell for however long time. Usually it's a short time in a municipality or a town or a city. Now, if you're in the county pays for that whole bill. If you're in the city pays for that bill. So in this case, because Gary Siders Sr. has not been literally found guilty, it is the responsibility of literally the town to have to pay for his medical treatments, hand them. And according to the prosecutor, there's no way that they could afford to pay what they're asking, what the doctors are suggesting that he get help with. And therefore, that would bankrupt their little town. So they did an OR bond. An OR bond that's released on their own reconnaissance. Okay, that means We're not going to have you pay anything. We're going to trust that you're going to come back. Released on their own reconnaissance. That's what OR means. Bob, good to have you. Healthcare of one person is enough to bankrupt a whole county. Well said, Bob. Thank you for being here. This case falls under the sheriff's budget and would bankrupt the county jail houses 250 people, very small, without a doubt. Well said. Melly, hey, Doug. Melly, the pups. Groundsky, Grandpa gets care while those kids were left to suffer, without a doubt. April, good morning, Devil Pups and DD. Good to have you, April. Share this stream. I'm telling you, this is going to be a very interesting, a very sad, but a very good live. So you want to pass this out to your friends. If you haven't, do so as soon as possible. So the dad was released on his own reconnaissance. The dad is 73 years old because he had slipped and fell on something and then taken to the hospital. They said that he needed more care than they could provide there. So what they recommended was basically the town took a vote and said, let's go ahead. Not the town, the council took a vote and said, let's go ahead and just give him an OR bond so this doesn't bankrupt the county, the town, etc. So they did that. So he is currently on ankle monitor. They got an ankle bracelet on him, and that's how they're keeping tracks of him. Okay, so now I'm going to explain to you a little bit about Gary Siders Sr. Let me read a little bit. Grandpa gets care while the kids left to suffer. Good morning, Devil Pups and DD. Hi, Bob. Welcome in. Hello, Melly. Good morning, April. April. Healthcare. I'm so glad I'm catching this live. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Heather. Thank you for being here. If you like the live, please subscribe. If you be a Devil Pup member, this is how we do things on this channel. Everybody's opinion matters, and everybody gets heard on this channel. Money rules the day, without a doubt. Al, good morning, Heather. So, medical release. Siders suffered a medical issue and fell while being transported to court. He was released on reconnaissance bond. It's his own reconnaissance. So he could receive specialized health hospital care, as treatment in the local jail would have bankrupted the county. If released from the hospital, he would be placed on a GPS monitor. The competence evaluation. A judge has ordered a mental competency evaluation to determine if Siders understands the legal proceedings and can participate in his defense. So now he's going to look at ways to get out of this by taking a competency test to see if he understands what is happening and if he can understand what's going on. Can he defend himself? His attorney also raised the possibility of an insanity defense. They're going to look at also possibly that he can't stand trial because of an insanity plea. Can't make this shit up, everybody. The case details. The allegations investigations removed 16 children ranging from toddlers to 18 years of age from deplorable and severe restrictions, living conditions. Some children were reported near death and almost feral. Charges: Gary Siders Sr., and Christina Sr., or Christina Siders, Elizabeth Siders, and Gary Siders Jr. all face felony charges, child endanger charges. All three suspects remain in jail at a $300,000 bond. You can't make this up, everybody. But Senior is getting released to go home with an ankle monitor. Elizabeth Sider. Now we go with Elizabeth. Elizabeth Sider is the grandmother. No, Elizabeth Sider is the mother of all the children. Let me read some comments here. Good morning, Heather. Good morning. Please like the live. Hello, Heather, Carol, Bob. He allegedly had a stroke a few months ago. Interesting, Bob. Carol, hello, Ocean. L, he's evil, not insane, says Carol. Amen, Carol. I wonder if these children were registered at birth. Gronsky, they are very bad to do what they did. Do not let them off. Do not let them off. Tusi, not high enough. No one should get out. Well said, everybody. Now, Elizabeth Sider, she is the mother of all these kids. Literally, the mother. ABC reported all children are Liz and Gary's and have birth certificates. Yes, that is correct. These are all her kids. She got married when she was 15, and Gary Sider Jr. was 18. I believe it was in West Virginia or Virginia. They got married, and like 2 months later, she was already pregnant. That's why her oldest is 18. She does have some developmental disabilities as well. So Elizabeth Sider's 33 years old, recently filed a new court request seeking release on a reconnaissance bond. She also wants to be released like Gary Sider Sr., maintaining that her number one wish is to eventually be reunited with her children. Whew. Key recent developments regarding Elizabeth Siders include a plea for release and reunification. Her defense attorney, J. Thomas Stolley, filed a motion requesting to reconnaissance bond that would allow her to leave jail under specific court stipulations. The filing emphasizes that she has no prior criminal record and understands that any future hope of reunification would be impossible if she failed to appear in court. Defense strategy. Her attorney is actively pushing back against the Ohio Attorney General's characterization of the situation as pure evil. Furthermore, her legal team is investigating whether Elizabeth, who married co-defendant Gary Siders Jr. in West Virginia in 2008 at just 15 years old with parental consent, should be legally considered a victim herself. Now listen to that for a minute. Her attorney is saying she should be a victim herself because she married Gary Siders Jr. at the age of 15 with parents' consent in West Virginia. Unbelievable. Biological mother confirmation. Her attorney confirmed that Elizabeth is indeed the biological mother of all 16 children rescued from the Hamden home. Public records also surfaced showing she gave birth to 3 sets of twins during her marriage, including a conjoined twin who tragically passed away shortly after birth in 2022. Elizabeth, along with the 3 other family members, recently waived their rights to preliminary court hearing as the felony child endangerment case moves forward. She currently remains on a $300,000 bond. ABC reported children are Liz and Gary's birth certificates. Did you see the interview the dollar store clerk at the town gave? Yes, Bible. April, I was just going to ask if they all belong to the same parents. Yes, they do. Well, good question, April. L, unreal how long this went on. Growski, 15 is too young to get hooked up and get married, without a doubt. Carol, have to have birth certificates to receive money from the government. L, sorry, but those children have been so traumatized at this point, even seeing her would hurt them, in my opinion. Well said. Analyze. Elizabeth said she is not a victim, but that's not what her attorney has said, Doug. Her attorney has said she should be considered as a victim. But you may be right, but that's not what her attorney has claimed that they may look at and try to expose that she was a victim being married so early. I think all four adults need psychic evaluation, says Bible, without a doubt. I am going to go as far as to say this has happened in a family before long ago. Gronsky, no priors. Okay, but she is not a victim. 3 sets of twins, weird. $100,000 bond is good. L, I am not concerned about the children. I pray they get the help that they need. But most of them don't have a chance in life. Now, I'm afraid, in my opinion. Well, yeah, because they never went to school. They never put them in any schooling. Nothing whatsoever. Chico Stick is in the house. Hey, everybody. Good to have you, Chico Stick. Carol, Elizabeth was brainwashed and drugged, in my opinion, says Carol. Carolina Girl, good morning, DD in chat. Good to have you, Carolina Girl. L, please hit the like if you haven't. Helps the channel get that algorithm going, and subscribe and be a Devil Pup member in the house. Let's get it, everybody. Doug says, I don't know how she is not a victim. Being a minor and saying she's not a victim tells me she is absolutely a victim, in my opinion. Well stated, Doug. Well stated. Good point. L, good morning, Chico and Carolina. Gronsky, I agree. It is hard to undo the harm. L, thank you for that gift, helping the channel, supporting the channel, my friend. Thank you so much. My grandmother had 4 sets of living twins back to back. Interesting, Bible. Analyze. Stockholm victims are victims. L sent thumbs up for 10 joules. Thank you so much, L. Thank you for supporting the channel. Carol, Doug, I agree. April, West Virginia in certain areas live like this. That is very true. Well said, April. Whitaker family, for example, sorry to say, no, you are spot on. You're exactly right. Well said. Gronsky, absolutely agree. April, that's exactly what I thought of when I saw this case. Also, Elizabeth has waived her rights along with the 3 other family members recently received her right to be preliminary court hearing as a felony child endangerment cases moves forward. She currently remains on a $300,000 bond. They haven't answered any of those concerns of the attorneys that they had for their clients. Gary Sider Jr. The last developments regarding Gary Jr., 36, highlight how the original investigation into him initiating the entire House of Horrors. Kind of like if you guys remember in Ohio when we had the Castro brothers that had kidnapped the 3 girls, and they had them in their home for years. Remember that, hearing that story? I don't know if you guys remember that story or not, but it was so sad. They were young. Some were impregnated. It was just a very horrific story. I think this was more in I'm just guessing if I remember right, it was more in the 2014, 15, maybe 18. I'd have to look that up. But nevertheless, it's kind of similar in a sense, but that was a kidnapping, and then they kept them all that time until they finally one was able to break through. The reason I bring that up for is because these were also children. You know, a lot of them didn't get any schooling. Once they were taken, they did not go to school. No one knew where they were at. Well, these kids are in the same predicament in the sense that they weren't kidnapped, but they weren't given an opportunity either. None of them went to school. None of them got that education that they needed. Their age ranges from 1.5 all the way to 18. The 18 has developmental disabilities. The other kids, most of them, if not some of them, cannot read or write, cannot even talk. They got to point fingers to what they want because they can't read or write. The challenges that these kids are going to face in an everyday world that we live in today is almost impossible. Nothing's impossible with God, but it is almost impossible. You get my drift. West Virginia, in certain areas, live like this. Whitaker family, for example, I remember that story well, says Bible. Kids have to do as their parents say. April, that's exactly what I thought when I saw this case. Groundsky, absolutely agree. Yes, I saw a documentary about the story somewhere. Chris McLaughlin, good morning. You beautiful people. Good to have you, Chris. Yes, Tushi, I agree. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. Hear me out. Hear me out. Elizabeth was married at 15, says AJ. Got pregnant right after, 2 months after. And over, she had no chance to do anything in her life. She was a child when she was put into this situation, in my opinion. Well said, AJ. Well said. Hello, Chris, says Carol. Groundsky, hey, Chris, Carol, I agree. AJ, good morning, Chris. Click that likes, everybody. Let's click that likes, get that algorithm going. I'm just jumping in, so I don't know much, but you guys know she's pregnant again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, Gary Siders, this is his, for better lack of words, this is now him we're going to be talking about. I'm just jumping in. AJ, read that too, Chris. April, where the parents of same age since she needed consent. She got the consent from the parents. April, were the parents the same age since I don't know. They were there. They gave the consent, unfortunately, in West Virginia. The father was 17 in the beginning too, right? The father was 18 and she was 15. He was 3 years older than her. Gronsky, oh goodness, not again. Analyze. Elizabeth was 15. Gary was 18. Correct. Jean Land. Dee, good morning. And Chad, good to have you, Jean. Appreciate you being here. Click the likes, everybody. Subscribe and be a member in the channel. Hello, Jean. Okay, so technically, he was an adult. Yes. But with the parents' consent, he was able to marry at 15. She was able to marry with her parents' consent. Okay, thank you. That's what I meant. So now the latest development on Siders, 36 years old. He is considered the house of horrors. That he basically is the one that's going to be literally everything surrounded about him. This is what this case will forever be known as, the House of Horrors. So sad. Key updates regarding Gary Siders Jr. include, according to June 30th, police raid on Hamden home. They went in there because they were trying to serve a warrant for indecent exposure. 4 times or several times in 4 days, continuously indecent exposure. The deputies arrived at the residence to serve the arrest warrant. as he has reportedly was allegedly exposed himself outside the home to non-household members across 4 different dates in May. During that time, when law enforcement entered the home to execute the public decency warrant for Siders, they discovered the 16 children confined to a single squared 12 by 12 foot room. Think about that. They found most of those kids in a 12 by 12 room. He has waived his preliminary hearing. Siders Jr., alongside his wife Elizabeth and mother Christina, appeared in court and officially waived their right to a preliminary hearing. This procedure step moves his 16 counts of felony child endangerment directly to the grand jury process for a formal indictment. Upcoming court date with his child endangerment case heads to grand jury. Siders Jr. is scheduled to appear in court on July 23rd. July 23rd. I may go to that, everybody. Specifically, I may actually go to that. Specifically for a hearing on the 4 public indecency charges. Okay, that's for the hearing of the 4 public indecency charges, not this other stuff. Current custody status. Unlike his father, who was released on a reconnaissance bond for emergency hospitalization, Gary Siders Jr. remains incarcerated at the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. He is being held on $300,000 cash or surety bond. That's where we are with him. Let me ask you some questions. Hello, Gene. Okay, so technically he was an adult. Bob says, age of consent in Ohio is 16, but it would fall under the Romeo and Juliet clause. Well said, Bob. Gene L., good morning. Oh my God, this is awful indecent exposure. Gene, this is very hard and difficult case to wrap my head around. I feel your pain, Gene, no doubt about it. Her parents were not in support of the marriage. She had to leave the state. I don't think they felt there was much they could do, in my opinion. That's awful. Gronsky, this guy is not right. No one goes around with no clothing. Gronsky, 300,000 is not high enough. Well, it's safe to say that he's probably not getting out anytime soon because they just don't have the money. Literally. They just don't have the money. The idea that he was considered the mastermind, the one who allowed a lot of this, if not all of this, to happen, the idea that he is not and shouldn't take the brunt of it, he's going to take all the heat because this all falls on him and the other 3 adults who did nothing, and I do mean nothing as it appears, to help out the situation. I need a drink of coffee. Wow. This is crazy, everybody. But the reason this is so important, this is a case that we know about. There's so many more of these cases going on up in the hills of West Virginia, up in the hills, possibly of Pennsylvania, all over the country. These things are happening. It's not just one place. It's many places where this is taking place. This is just one that we heard of that was exposed. But make no mistake, everybody, this is the kind of stuff you see all the time. I have been into homes that were dirty, messy, looked unsanitary. I have been to homes in law enforcement that literally have to do welfare checks with the caseworkers for their safety, seeing fetus and stuff on the ground. Been there, seen that. Never of 16 people, that I can say. But the idea of seeing kids that are like not really malnutrition, skinny, bony, having to be taken and removed from social services. Yes, I've been there. I've seen that. and it is everywhere. This case is just big because you're dealing with a high number of kids, 16. You understand? This is what's going on in our world. This you could say, in my honestly opinion, is an everyday occurrence. Maybe not to the magnitude of 16, but it's an everyday occurrence that people just don't have enough to eat. And when they have kids, there's nothing they do except the bare minimum. Just saying, right, wrong, or indifferent, that is what it is. I wonder if incest with the brother being older. I don't know, April. They didn't really specify that. Now, I don't think there was any incest in this, because the only reason I say that, I don't know that to be fact. I don't know that to be fact. But I'm saying it's because there was a brother of Elizabeth who spoke out. And of course, they said his name. I heard it. I just didn't capture exactly what it was. It was earlier yesterday when I started reading this stuff. And he literally said that, he had his own take. He put out his own thing. And bottom line is, she has a brother, so she's not from that lineage of that family, I guess is the best way to answer that. April, he was also charged, right? Yes, he was also charged. Still in jail, probably not going to get out, to be honest. April, yes, that's what I read. April, terrible. Yeah, as a psychiatric rehabilitation work, I saw same pretty horrible stuff too. I thought it was horrible, but doesn't even come close to this, without a doubt, because here you're talking about 16 kids. I mean, when I tell you, my mother raised 19 children, never took a handout from government, literally never took out anything, and raised all of us 19. That's why I have so much love and respect for my mom, because she did it. Her and my father did it, and they didn't let anything stop them from getting it done. Yeah, a psychic rehabilitation work. I saw pretty horrible. If she keeps reading, she could go to 40 to 50 kids, without a doubt. Doug, Elizabeth's parents, the Russells, gave consent. I believe the missing 3 children could be Elizabeth's brother's kids, since they were taken from his home. Very possible, Doug. To see some of us treat our animals better than some people treat their own kids, without a doubt. The brother was charged separately at another time, is what I read. That is correct. Doug, yes, brother's arrest was 2007. Tusi, truth. Brownsky, they should check for graves around for any kids may have passed, without a doubt. Pam, I hear a sweet kitty. He's around here somewhere. Thank you, Pam. So, like all the others, he has waived his rights, and is still, and probably will be in jail probably the rest of his life, if everything goes the way it looks. He'll have to go to trial, and he'll have to find him guilty, but as the way it looks. Now we're with Christina Siders. She is the grandmother. The wife of Gary Sr. Christina Siders, 67, remains in custody at the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. A $300,000 cash for her as well. She's facing 16 felony counts of child endangerment as the grandmother of the 16 rescued children. The late legal and investigation updates concerning include she has waived her preliminary hearing alongside her family members. Christina officially waived her appearance and right to a preliminary court hearing. The procedure step moves her case out of the lower court and sends the 16 felony counts directly to a grand jury for a formal indictment. Special prosecutors appointed: Ohio Attorney General Andy Wilson and former Franklin County Prosecutor Kara Keating. And there is one more, they don't have her mentioned, but there is one more also that is going to be helping Andy Wilson with this trial, the prosecute. They have been appointed and special prosecutors to handle the case against Christina and her co-defendants. The records of financial benefits records investigates up to from revered that Christina and her husband, Gary Sr., were paying rent. Apparently, they were paying rent at this house. I'm not sure for what, because it's not like they had any room, but they were paying rent and actively receiving state financial benefits at the time of their arrest because she is determined to be indigent. Indigent, if you don't know, is just somebody who basically has nothing. They don't own nothing and they have nothing. She has been assigned to a court-appointed public defender. Investigators detailed that Christina and the family spent nearly 2 decades moving through multiple southern Ohio counties, and briefly Wisconsin authorities alleged they intentionally avoided establishing government educational or medical records to keep the 16 children completely hidden from society. They went out of their ways to make sure these kids were not seen, not in school, not in anything. Just ridiculous. Let me read this here. Gronsky, they should check the grades with the indecent exposure. I would fear other kids have been harmed close to there, without a doubt. Well said, April. Gronsky, he deserves to spend lots of time in jail. Waiving preliminary hearing eliminates extra charges being brought during discovery. Only God knows what those kids witnessed. Doug, special prosecutor appointed. Yes. Gronsky, the kids need lots of love going forward, without a doubt, Gronsky. A lot of the kids will need specialized care, and a lot of mental health treatment and physical therapy. What good? Well said, L. Well said, without a doubt. Click that like, everybody. Do you want to support the channel? Please support the channel. Let's grow. Let's help us all grow. The custody conditions: unlike her husband, who was granted a medical release to the hospital, Christina has not been granted a bond modification. If she manages to post her $300,000 bond, court orders dictate she will be placed on a GPS electronic monitoring, and it is strictly barred from contacting her husband, son, daughter-in-law, or any of the 16 children. So in other words, she will not be allowed to talk to anybody if she was able to get that bond of $300,000. If she was able to get that, she could then be released, put on an ankle bracelet, and would not be able to make contact with any of her kids. Wow, that's a lot, everybody. That's a lot. What's your thoughts, everybody? Let me hear you. Unbelievable. A lot of the kids will need specialized. The Jersey lady is in the house. The 4 cases could simply be that he relieved himself in the yard. That could possibly be it. It could be that. But he did it in the public, and he did it. Apparently, other people saw it, not people in his family. So therefore, that's what. And he did this for 4 days in a row, they said. So they're going to charge him 4 times the count. That is the charges. KB listening. Thank you, KB, for being here. Appreciate you. Thank you. Click that like, everybody. Get that algorithm going and share the stream, everybody. Support the channel if you can. If you can't, no worries. Help out the channel grow. So now we're going to get into a conversation. Now, this individual name, she is a witness to some things. She's not a bad person, in my opinion. She's just a young girl who just didn't realize. She is Ariel Gutierrez. She's acquaintance of the Sider family only because, an acquaintance in the sense of only because of where she worked, not by anything else, but by where she worked. A lot of kids will need specialized treatment. Jersey girl, the 4 cases should be simplified and relieved. KB, listening. Hi, Jersey girl and KB. Analyze what about the Instagram accounts of the 2 oldest kids? How, when, and why? Have no clue yet on that. Analyze. I have no clue on that, but we will cover that maybe on the next one. Carol, how old is Elizabeth now? 33 years old. Elizabeth is 33 years old, Carol. Doug, 33. Bob, it's actually legal to pee on your own property in Ohio, just not in front of kids. You can pee all you want in your property. You just can't be, peeing in front of people. That is the indecent exposure. It's actually legal to pee on your own property in Ohio. April, welcome in all. Glad to have you here. Please like and subscribe. Everybody, do me that favor. Send this out. Carol, thanks, Doug. Miss Barney, how old was she when she had her first child? She was 2 months pregnant when she was 15 years old, Miss Barney. 2 months pregnant. Oleg, they had Instagram accounts that don't fit with the story. I agree with that. Doug, 15. Oleg, the internet. They had internet then. Swartz, Venmo. There's the Venmo, PayPal. Thank you, April, for posting. If you want to support the channel, help out the channel so we can grow and become smarter with more people. So this witness by the name of Ariel Gutierrez, it's pretty heartbreaking, when you see it, and even if you're hurt and you see what's going on. So Ariel Gutierrez, she is from Hamden, Ohio. She moved there 4 years ago and started working at the Dollar General 2 years ago. 2 years ago, okay? She has herself 6 kids. Hamden is a small, quiet community. They have no stoplights, like many small towns in Ohio. There's a lot of small towns that I know here, and even in our area, that do not have any stoplights. It's a small, quiet community. Very, very, very poor community. They have a lake where some go fishing, swimming, etc. Once again, it is a country environment community. If you know what I mean, if you lived in Ohio, you would understand. It is a country community town. She worked as a cashier at the dollar store. When I first saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth, it was when she first saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth. Get down, Bandit. Get down, Bandit. Excuse me, everybody. Bandit, get down. Bandit. Get down, Bandit. Sorry, everybody. Apologies. Just had to get the cat off the table. She worked at Dollar General 2 years ago. So she's a mother of 6. They have a lake where they go fishing. It's a very country atmosphere community. She worked as a cashier at the dollar store. Now, she was asked when she first saw Gary, she said, when I first saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth was my first day of working. Could you imagine that? The very first day she goes to work, she sees them. Let me read some of these notes real quick. Carol, child, hello, child, good morning. Barney, Bible, I saw the clerk's interview. She gave lots of insight. To see how far from Lorain, Ohio. Lorraine's over there by Cleveland. So this is going to be the opposite direction. This one here is 90 miles from Columbus, south of Columbus. To give you an idea, Lorain is about probably, I would say, 3.5 to 4 hours away, maybe, Tusi, from this area. Marianne, hello, DD and chat. Good to have you, Marianne. Bingo dog. This is a poverty-based first case, in my opinion. L, hi, Marianne. Bandit, behave, says L. Doug, Bandit, lay down, lay down. Lay down. Come on. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Marianne with the gift. Thank you so much, Marianne, for supporting the channel. Hell, Bandit, behave. Bandit. Heather, I love Bandit. Super chats and memberships gifting is available, not required, but appreciate. Become a member for only a few dollars a month. Just you all being here helps and is appreciated. Thank you so much. Well said, April. Marianne, the kitties. Gronsky, the kitties, Bandit, and the dog. Marianne sent star for 2 jewels. Thank you so much, Marianne, for helping the channel. Thanks, Marianne, says L. So now what we have is this lady, Ariel Gutierrez, said that when she first started working at Dollar General, her very first day is when she encountered Elizabeth and Gary Jr. Elizabeth and Gary Jr. She said that she worked as a cashier at the dollar store. She said the first time she saw them was her first day. They came in at 9:45 p.m., 15 minutes before closing. And she said they did this every time. Every time they came. They would come there 15 minutes before closing. It was like clockwork, everybody. Like clockwork. They would always come in close to closing. They would always buy jugs of water and cooking oil. Big cooking oil bottles. Cooking oil. They didn't say what kind of cooking oil, but cooking oil. Sometimes they would even buy some sugar, and once in a while they would buy diapers. Once in a while. Now, she said that sometimes when they would come in, that the other coworker there, they would buy, on occasion, the employees there would buy them some hygiene products out of their own pockets for them. We would also buy them bags of clothes because this is a poor community. So here's got a woman who has her own 6 kids, but she is helping out, trying to help out somebody less fortunate, literally. So they're buying them not only, little misdemeanor things like food or something, but they're buying them clothes because it's a poor community. see what you guys say. This a disturbing hard event. Wrap your head around the condition. The system failed all these children. So sad. Carol Burton. Hello, Marianne. Vegetable oil, says Doug. L. Cooking oil. Very every day is odd. Yes. Analyze and some eggs. Oleg, the children drank the cooking oil. I read. Some places in the world, in other countries, they do drink cooking oil. Just what they do. Carol, very strange. April, there's the email. Analyze. Also, ingredients for cake besides flour and salt is missing. Yeah, I didn't see that. I just went by the interview. Bible, I heard cooking oil is eaten in some countries to stay alive. That is true, Bible. That is 100% true, and they state that in here. Bob, vegetable oil can also be used to get rid of lice and other critters from your hair. That could be the main reason. Well said. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Bob. Gronsky, never heard of anything like this before, says Gronsky. Me neither, my friend. Analyzed Turpin kids was similar with 13 kids in similar conditions. KB, saddest thing I've heard of. Did these parents have really low IQ? I'm going to say yes because it is believed that they do. It is believed that they have low IQ, but I don't know that to be factual. L, bread or eggs, ramen noodles. There are options. Cooking oil is so weird to me on a daily basis. Marianne, this chat is so informative. Love it. So now, when Ariel is asked, what does she think? She said, we didn't really think about it, but at some occasions, other employees would buy hygiene products out of their own pockets. They would buy literally hygiene products and stuff out of their own pockets to help them out because this was a poor community. We would also buy them bags of clothes because this is a poor community. I have no reason to judge them. We would just try to help them. Once we noticed that the items that we were buying them were not being used, we thought they may have took an insult to the fact that we were buying this stuff for them, that we may have insulted them. And when asked why she felt that, she stated that they were always in the same clothes for months with holes and dirty clothes on. Think about that. These people who don't have much, I don't know if you know, but Dollar General people don't make a lot of money. Let's be just first be honest. For them to even do anything to help this family is a godsend. You know what I mean? It's a godsend for anyone to do anything for them. April, so the mother worked at one point at Dollar. No, not the mother. Ariel, she is an employee of Dollar General. She lives there. She was, as they would say, the closest person to this mother, to Elizabeth. Ariel is a lady who was employed by Dollar General. She was the closest because she would see them 4 nights out of the week because she worked the night shift. And right before closing, they would always show up. Right before closing, they would always show up. Gene, Marianne, I agree with you 100%. Love the format of this chat. Carol, no, April, she didn't work there. Carol, okay, I thought he said 3 years ago. I must have misunderstood. KB, so they weren't getting any government assistance. Well, there was only I think two that was getting government assistance. It was the grandfather and the mother, to my understanding. They were the only two. April, more coffee, laughing out loud. Lots of coffee. Well said. For the grandparents, by living like this, they must had similar upbringing. This is a learned way of survival for them. It's a good point, Oleg. L says, I don't think she ever had a job. I don't either. L. Carol, it never was stated. Carol, no problem, April. April, oh, okay, DD. I misunderstood. Thank you guys for clarifying. No worries, April. Thank you for asking. Grandparents were getting state funding, nothing cooperated about parents and children. Well, I believe I had read somewhere that the mom was getting assistance, only when I say the mom of the 16 kids. That's what I read. And the grandfather was also getting assistance of some sort. Pam, here in AI, here in the manager makes only $9 an hour, and they don't get a lot of hours either. Very well said, Pam. Very well said. They don't make a lot of money, people. But here you have this Ariel employee and her friends that see these family come in. They see the mom and the dad. They see what they buy, and they're taken by that. And they spent their little bit of money that they have. Even Ariel, who has 6 kids, takes some money out of her pocket to buy them some things like hygiene stuff, shampoo, soap, so they can smell better, and even buying them clothes. Analyzed, corroborated. Bob, cooking oil also gives you diarrhea when ingested. Bible, Oleg, I agree. Miss Barney, the community was aware the family had chicken, but didn't know how many had children, but didn't know how many children. My bad. Yes, Barney. Miss Barney, yes. The community was, well, no, I take that back. I don't think really a whole lot of people knew that they had that many children, because according to when I read on, you'll understand that they were very private, and they were never really all out together. Never. So I don't think the community knew how many they had. Maybe their neighbors did, but I don't think the community as a whole knew, according to what I've been reading. Good point, though. L. Barney, yes, some knew there were children. Doug, no, Barney, no one knew. The neighbor reported one child they heard crying. Ended up being 16 when Ellie arrived. Thank you, Doug. That is correct. L, the kids never left the house allegedly, so they had no idea how many. Family members knew she had kids too, just didn't know how many. Well said, L. Analyzed that Dollar General associate only knew of two who she seen in the store. Correct, Doug. Bible, initially, it was reported that the neighbors never saw any kids at home. Well said, well said. KB, definitely mental illness. Dirt poor does not live like this, without a doubt. Well said, everybody. Well said. So now they know that they weren't using the clothes because they saw them constantly coming in, the husband and the wife, the Junior and Elizabeth. They saw them coming in at 9:45 like clockwork. And they saw them wearing the same dingy clothes, dirty clothes, holy clothes, whatnot. She said she saw them come in every 3 to 4 days because that's what she worked. But she also stated that Ariel stated that when she would come in our off days, because she lived close to Dollar General, when she would come in to buy something, she would also see them there too, late at night. So it was probably every day that they were coming in or pretty damn close to it. She even got to the point where Ariel said, I consider them my regulars because I always expected to see them because I seen them all the time when I was working. When she was asked how far is it from their house, the Dollar General, Ariel said it's about a 2 minute drive to the store from their house, maybe 5 to 6 blocks away from where they lived. So five to 6 blocks is how far this family lived from the Dollar General. She said sometimes I saw them walking and sometimes I saw them driving, but I never seen them with their kids. There you go. There's your question someone had earlier. I never seen them with their kids as in plural. I never saw them with Gary Sider Sr. or Christina Sider. So she never saw Junior and she never saw Elizabeth with the grandparents. They never were together. She's never saw them together. She saw them independently, but not together. So when I saw all their faces together in the mugshots, I was like, what? This is what she's saying. When she saw the mugshot of them being arrested, she was taken back. I didn't think they were all related. I was shocked, like, what? I only seen the older couple together, and they seemed very nice and dressed very nice. Gary Sider Sr. and Elizabeth did not stink or have an odor on their body. When I saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth come in, I would have when she saw Junior and Elizabeth come in, this is what she's stating now. Listen, it's important. When I saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth come in, I would have to Lysol when they came in, Lysol when they were in the store, and Lysol when they left. It was that bad. The odor was horrible. Learn tactics and always moving around. This is a generational condition, in my opinion. Good point, Doug. Carol, kids don't attend school. That is correct, Carol. L, in all of those kids didn't attend school or doctor visits. How is it possible that this wasn't noticed? After having a child, you have a hospital and have a follow up. That's if you decide to follow up after you have a child or you move somewhere else. Bible, analyze generational cycles. I agree. Oleg, some authorities has let this happen. Oleg, this is the thing I've been asking. No follow up when the kids didn't come to their appointments. They fell through the cracks many times, says L. Very well, good point. Carol, Child Protection Services failed again, says Carol. L, yes, Carol, 100%. Now, Ariel said, when I saw the kids, it was only twice in 2 years when I saw the kids. Twice in 2 years. Think about that. In the 2 years she was working there, she saw Elizabeth and she saw Junior, and they had two kids with them. Literally two kids. When I saw the kids, it was only twice in 2 years and what they came to the store. Hang on a second, everybody. Give me a second, everybody. I had somebody at the door. Sorry about that. All right. My apologies. I had somebody at the door. Yes, Carol, 100%. Layla, Washington, Child Services can't do anything if they don't know about it. If you see something, say something. Well said, Layla. L, if they weren't coming to follow up appointments, that is supposed to be followed up on. And if she had that many kids and she was continuously not following up, that should have been looked into. Well said, L. Brenda, good morning, Devil Dog and Mods and Pups. Good to have you, Brenda. Hope you're doing well. April, how do you hide 16 kids that long? No wonder they were in terrible condition. Carol, I have reported abuse of nothing. I have reported abuse and nothing happened, so they failed, says Carol. Jean, I still can't comprehend this case. Oh, good morning, Brenda. Brenda, sorry I haven't been on in a while. I had to take care of family emergencies. You got it, Brenda. We're glad you're back. Doug, it's possible the kids were delivered in different counties. This would be a way to avoid detection. That is so true. Jean says, Brenda, good morning. Brenda, 1985, big hugs. Oleg, there was no space in that tiny house. It was cluttered very everywhere. How did they move around? Probably why they stayed in that one room. Brenda, yes, we are doing good. Thank you, Devil Dog. You welcome, Brenda. Bob, yeah, she usually went an hour and a half away to Franklin County to have kids. And that's in Columbus if you're not familiar. Carol Burton, were all the kids delivered at the hospital? Different hospitals. You got to remember the first kid they had, they were in West Virginia when she was 15. They moved around in several different places. In Ohio, they lived in Ohio for a while and they moved from different places to different places. Doug, it's possible, but even in other county, I don't know, just don't understand. There are still follow-ups. Well said. Doug, it's possible in other counties. Brenda, Jean, big hugs. Doug, I agree. There should be a lot of things, just another way the system failed these children. Well said, Doug. Absolutely, Doug. Carol, okay, thank you, Dee Dee. You got it. Brenda, Double Dog, what case are we doing? We are working on the case of the 16 children from Vinton County, Hamden, Ohio, 90 miles south of Columbus. They were rescued from their home. Brenda, Carol Burton, big hugs. The 16 children, Brenda. So now, when she saw Gary, this is Ariel, the person who works at the store. When she saw Ariel and Elizabeth, when Ariel said when she saw Gary Jr. and Elizabeth come in, that they would have to Lysol as they came in, while they were there, and when they left, because it was that bad of a smell. Then I saw the kids. It was only twice in 2 years that she saw the two kids. And they would come into the store. They mimicked their mother. They acted just like their mother. Their hair, she said, was covered down, covering their eyes and part of their face. Their hair would cover part of the eyes and their face. I personally thought they were visiting. Oh, I'm sorry. They mimicked their mother. Their hair was covering their eyes and their face. They were pale. They were very light skinned, and they were thin. She noticed all those attributes. They were thin. They were light skinned, and their hair covered their whole eyes and part of their face. They were pale. They were thin. I personally thought they were visiting because when I did see them with kids, it was only twice, and I just thought they were visiting. She never thought about that they lived, that they were their kids, because every time she saw them just together by themselves. Junior and Elizabeth, all the time. And then when she would see them, those two kids, they were with her, with them, the two kids, but it was only twice in 2 years. And so she thought they were just like visiting. I personally thought that they were visiting because when I did see the two kids, it was only twice, and I just thought they were visiting. I never knew she had 16 kids. I thought she had lived, I thought she had five. I saw four at one time, and then when she was pregnant, I never saw the baby. I never saw the baby. So she saw when she was pregnant, but she never saw the baby. When I saw the kids come in, they they would always ask them, "What do you want to buy?" That's the parents would ask them, "What do you want to buy?" They would point at something, and she would say, "Well, go get it." And they would go get soda, chips, or whatever they wanted, and then they would come up and she would pay for it. Or sometimes he would pay for it. Now, did they eat it? I don't know, says Ariel. Did they consume it? I don't know as well. All I knew was they checked out and walked out the store with it. When I saw four of them, it looked like two teenagers and two younger kids. When I saw them with their kids, they really didn't smell that bad every day. I only saw the kids twice and they didn't seem really dirty. They seemed like they were clean, like they took showers. Elizabeth did seem like she was able to talk to anyone. She was there when she was there. When she was with her 3 to 4 kids, she would only talk to me and then they would leave. This is what Ariel is saying. She works at the Dollar General. To me, it seemed like Elizabeth was not allowed to talk. I never saw her talk to anybody besides the person behind the register. Every time they would come in to the register, he, being the husband, Junior, Gary Jr., he would come up to her and 3 to 4 kisses. He would give her 3 to 4 kisses on the lips, and then he would walk on out. And when she would go ahead and take care of paying for everything, at first I thought it was really weird, but then I said, whatever, that's just them. Let me see where we're at now. Cal Burton, big hugs. The 16 children, Brenda. Sounds like major child abuse and neglect. Carol Burton says they definitely had vitamin D deficiency without a doubt. Doug, extended family knew. Brenda, analyze Doug, you got that right. Gene, what did they use for transportation? Apparently, they had a car, or they walk. Gene, what did they use for transportation? They had a car, or they would walk. Bob Jr. had a car. He was a door dasher. He was a door dasher. Doug, very sister, visited days before. There is photos of their Porsche on the Ford. Bruna, Annie, late morning, DD, and all. Good to have you. Appreciate you being here, Annie. Gene, thank you, Bob, for letting me know and answering my question. Marianne, hi, Annie. Carol, hello, Annie. L, hi, Annie. Annie, hi, Marianne. Hi, Carol. Now, this is Ariel saying, when I saw Elizabeth in her eyes, because the question was asked, what does her eyes look like? And Ariel said, when I saw Elizabeth, her eyes, they were nothing there. She acted like she wanted to help, but she didn't know how to ask for help. Just what I saw. I would try to make small talk, but she would just say, I have to pay for this and that. That's it. She had a very soft voice, a soft talk. So never talk very hard at all. She was just very soft at all the time when I talked to her. As far as the little kids, I don't know. They could have talked. They really didn't say anything when they point, and either they had. The only thing that I saw the kids of gave me concern. The only thing I saw that gave me concern was they were very thin and very pale at the time. I thought I probably should have said something other than trying to block their other than them trying to block their face and hide from the public. I didn't think anything else about it. They were just like their mom. The mom didn't seem like she carried 16 kids. The kids would cover up their face and their hair, covering their eyes. I could really, I could never really see the kids' eyes. Gary Sr. and Elizabeth always came in clean, dressed, and did not seem to smell at all. Let me answer some questions here. Bob, JR had a car. He was a door dasher. Doug, various sister visited days before the photos of the port. Annie, late. Jean, thank you, Bob. Marianne, hi, Annie. Carol, hello, Annie. L, hi, Annie. Annie, Marianne, Carol. So, okay, so Gary Sr. and Elizabeth, some came in clean and dressed well. I never thought they knew each other, being Gary Sr. and Elizabeth and Gary Jr. and Christina, the mother, the wife of Gary Sr. I never thought that they knew each other. I always thought that the kids were visiting. I thought that Gary Jr. and Elizabeth were living on their own by themselves. As far as the baby goes, I thought probably Children's Services took the baby. I felt like Gary Jr. Sider was in control of the whole situation, in my opinion. He would walk around, he would walk her around the store, holding her elbow, guiding her wherever to go. In hindsight, I should have said something or seen that as a red flag. Just didn't at the time. I didn't see anybody that was in fear. I actually think they looked like they really loved each other. She acted like if she would say something, she would get into trouble. I don't know if anybody else in the community reached out to them. They were very private and they would always keep to themselves. But that's what I know. I don't know if any ever reached out to try to help them out. I don't know. If the neighbors reached out to help them out, I really don't know. I know that the neighbors didn't see anything. Annie, there you go. Tusi, was the grandparents old enough to collect Social Security? Well, the husband was 73, so that would be yes. And the mother was, I believe, 60. Oh, he was three. He was, she was like 65, 66, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly. Tushy, was the grandparents old enough to collect Social Security? Miss Brandy, at least the children are in a better situation now, without a doubt. Well said. Well said, Miss Brandy. Bob, analyzed pics from July 4th. She was arrested July 30th. Tusi, yes, Miss B. L, Tusi 73 and 67, so yes. Tusi, thank you. April, if they never worked, Social Security wouldn't be much. That is for sure. Well said. The last time I saw Gary and Elizabeth was the night before they got arrested. It was at some time. It was at the same time, 9:45 before closing, and they had the same water and oil. I don't know why they bought a lot of oil. I thought that was odd. I figured that they were eating a lot of fried foods, potatoes, etc. As a mom, I always wish I could go ahead and do the things and set some things because I'm a mom and I know that who doesn't want to give more better to their kids. I should have just realized something was not right. They they need better. And as a mom, I just couldn't understand why I was seeing the reason I came out and said something. It is because I'm sorry. Miss Barney, at least the children are in a better place. Analyze picks from 4th of July, Tuesday, 7367. If they never worked, it wouldn't be much. No, it wouldn't be much. Very true. Doug, I believe it was the 4th of 2025. Just saying, extended family knew and visited was not complete isolation. Family knew. I seen things that were happening, and if I seen it, I know a lot of other people have seen it. And I just wish I would have done more. I keep my mouth shut. I should have investigated more in the end. I'm sorry for what they went through. And I'm sorry. And all I want to say to them is you and I hear you. I hear you. I wish to God I see you. I wish to God I had said something. Ariel was just about in tears as she was saying this. So there you go, everybody. The moral of the story is when you see something that doesn't look right, say something. In this case, Ariel had dealt with, excuse me, had dealt with the mom and the dad for 2 years since she worked at Dollar General, and she would always see them. And the odd things was like when they saw their kids, the two kids, when they would always buy oil and water, and the idea that they really truly believed she knew something wasn't right. She just couldn't put her finger on it. And so that is what she said why she was sorry for. To see, was the grandparents old enough to collect Social Security? Miss Barney, at least the children are in better places. Tusi 73 and 67. So yes, Tusi, thank you. April, if they never work, Social Security wouldn't be that much. No, it wouldn't be much. Very true. I believe it was the 4th of 2025 to enjoy the extended family knew and visited. April, do we know any past history of the children's grandparents? Not at this time. Melissa Curry, why didn't the hospitals question all these births? Not sure. Bob Bob Fout, I think brother-in-law lied about the older kids having social media to cover his own family's ass. Well said, KB. So we have literally a group of 16 kids, and Ariel, who seems to know them probably the best since they came there every night, the mom and the dad at least, she had a gut feeling. She had a gut feeling that exactly this is what was happening. Something wasn't right. But she didn't want to come across as judging them, and she didn't want to come across as in labeling them. So she didn't say anything. And I get it. I understand. But sometimes when you see something, 9 out of 10, if it strikes you, you probably need to at least say something. But in her defense, she just didn't know. She really, truly just didn't know. So now that that's said, you know, it strikes me that we as a country don't know that there's a lot of people that are living just like this. There's a lot of people going through this, whether it's 16, whether it's 5, whether it's 4, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. It just depends. But there's always people struggling and you never see it, right? You're always asking yourself, what would you do? And when push comes to shove, many times you say, oh, I'll do this and that. And then when the time comes, you're like, I don't want to get involved. And here's the problem. When you get to that point in life, it is people who suffer are these little kids who suffer because no one is standing up for them. Just an opinion. So when you see something, you really truly need to say something. Literally. Okay, everybody, what say you all? Answer some questions. Not it would be much very true. I believe it was the 425 April. Do we know any part history of the grandchildren parents? Not so much. Melissa Curry, we didn't. The hospital question. Bob, I think brother-in-law lied about the older kids having social medias to cover his own family's ass. Well said, Bob. KB, were these children born in a hospital? Yes, they were born in a hospital, just different hospitals. Ole, I am working on family tree. This had to have happened in the past as well, without a doubt, Ole. Carol, K, they said yes. I don't know for sure. April, how does a hospital follow up a conjoined twins? Yeah, that's a crazy one. Now those conjoined twins ended up passing away right after birth, so they ended up burying them, but they did pass away right after birth. L April, it doesn't make sense to me. The part I can't get past. That's a big deal to me, L. Very interesting, everybody. Very good questions. That's a big deal to me. Conjoined twins delivered it at 24 weeks and died in the first 24 hours. Well said, Doug. Well said. There's a lot here, everybody. There's a lot, and there's a lot happening. I do not see, in my experience, I do not see the grandmother nor the husband and wife being released. And like I do believe that the grandfather, that's why he was released because the doctors told them that he needs some serious, uh, uh, for a better lack of words, needed some serious help. Um, so they went ahead and put him on an anchor monitor because the city or the community, the county could not afford to pay all the bills of the hospital bills since they were holding him. You know what I mean? April, it just don't make sense to me. That part I can't get past. That's a big deal to me. Conjoined twins delivered 24 hours and died in 24 hours. Well said. Bob Fout, conjoined the cart, conjoined the chest, conjoined at the chest. Thank you, Bob. April, my thoughts is she would have had to have a follow up. L, right, exactly, April, and would be on her way on her healthcare record. I mean, there's just so much here, everybody. There's so much here, so much knowledge. We got an insight on looking what their MO was. We got a glimpse at what they do every night. How do they go buy their groceries? And then we got an insight on literally how they perceived it, what they perceived, and you got to remember, she was 15 years old when she got married. She literally went and had her first baby at the age of 15. I mean, folks, that's not simple. That's very hard. That's grinching. That's gut grinching. Just because they say follow up doesn't mean they follow up. Absolutely. L, they should have followed up on if they don't make follow up appointments. We're up on it and they don't make follow up appointments. Where does this happen? Makes my head spin, says L. Carol, just because they say follow up doesn't mean that they went or have to. Duh, people like about names, addresses, points, back towards the generation conditions. They learn how to evade detection, in my opinion. International. April, if and does the births were in hospitals, those hospitals would have been clearly bring up the matter in different hospitals. Without a doubt, you would think, right? It would only make sense. Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Get that algorithm going. Click the channel. Support the channel if you'd like. It is not necessary, but greatly appreciated. Let's get some memberships going for some people in the channel. Let's get some gifts going. Help out the channel if you can. So that's very interesting to me because, like I said, for me, I correlate it to my upbringing of 19 kids. And it's very, it speaks volume of how I was raised and the quality of love, the quality. I remember my mom, if you had anything torn on your clothes, you weren't wearing it. She was either sewing it or buying you some new clothes. And I don't want to make it sound like it was a lot of clothes, but it was good, solid clothes. Marianne, thank you for the stars. Appreciate the gift. Let's get it, everybody. Let's get that algorithm going. So for me, I had it. I never went without anything, just to be honest. My mom and dad took care of everybody in the family. We didn't go without clothes or a roof over our head or food or anything. We never went without anything. My dad and mom made sure we never went without anything. Now they may have not been a lot. We didn't get like when you eat, it wasn't like you ate and then came back for more. It was like you ate and then you were happy, But that's a part of back in that generation. But today, this seems more sinister, I don't want to say sinister. It just seems more lack of responsibility on the parents, because there's always ways to find ways to help provide for your kids. There's always ways. All you got to do is go out there and do it. There's always ways. And I'm not sure what they went through, the difficult times that they didn't feel like they had that opportunity. Analyze says, including Elizabeth, she was intentionally evading the points towards guilt away from victim narrative. AJ, do we know if they use drugs? Have no clue. Melissa Curry, curious of what the warrant was for drugs. The warrant was for indecent exposure, Melissa Curry. They were there arresting him, Junior, Gary Jr., the dad of the kids. They were arresting him for indecent exposure amongst 4 days. And then they finally said, that's it. Let's just go ahead and arrest him. Marianne sent the star for 2 jewels. Analyze indecent exposure. No mention of drugs anywhere. Carol, AJ, it looked like to me. Marianne, hi DD. Hi AJ, D. AJ, hi Carol. Analyze. Elizabeth's brother has known drug problems, but that's all I've seen reported. Bob, eyes. Her eyes were red from ammonia and feces. It's a good point, Bob. Well to point it out. If you don't follow up with healthcare appointments for children and get them Medicare, they need that. It's considered neglect. Protection services would be at your door long ago if you did their job. But it could have had to be reported. Excuse me. Carol, being poor doesn't mean having to be dirty. Well said. Well said. That is so spot on. Carol, being poor doesn't mean you have to be dirty. Well said, spot on, Carol. Annie, Allie, thank you, Doug. KB, in my prior generation, there was almost a sin to take a handout. You earned it or did without. But this is ridiculous. Bam, my mom and dad both worked, and sometimes they had 2 jobs to make sure me and my siblings had what they needed. Annie says, my mom and dad took care of us. Gene, Dee love. Much appreciation, Gene. Thank you so much. See, that's the importance of family on one extreme to another. That's the importance of how a family can come together strong and help one another versus how a family can be overwhelmed to where nothing is getting done, no one is learning, and everybody. I can only imagine how many times those kids were sick. I mean, downright sick. Maybe eating something that wasn't necessarily good for them, maybe eating something that was maybe way too old. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a lot there, everybody. Click that like, everybody. Click that like. Get that algorithm going. Support the channel if you'd like. Much appreciated. If you are here and not a subscriber, subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, be a member in the house. That would be great. Did they have working facilities, those shower stoves, etc.? You know, April, they didn't say anything about that. They didn't say anything. I'm going to say probably not, but they didn't say anything about that. That's a very good question. Thank you, April. Oleg, can you imagine what it was like for these kids to suddenly smell something pleasant and see proper food besides the heart, besides their hearts? Yeah, no doubt, right? I mean, you can only imagine. You can only imagine what this family went through. You know, wonder that also, April. Oleg, very sad. Poor babies. Can you imagine? Yes. Annie, I hope they get good taken care of now, because sometimes these foster people are not good either. That is true. That is very true. Well said. Well said. Without a doubt. That is very true. Click that like, everybody. Get that algorithm going. I hope they get good taken care of now, because sometimes these foster parents are not good either. Well said. Well said, my friend. Bam. So sad. These kids may never be able to live by themselves now, especially the older ones. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord they are out of the bad place. Without a doubt, April. Without a doubt, Pam. Thank you so much. April, wow, this has been a lot. You are all so awesome here. Thank you, everybody. Click that like, click the emojis, click the gifts if you can. Get some memberships for others if you can. Support the channel, help it grow. We are growing. Make no mistake, we are growing. But word of mouth is the best form of us getting our channel to grow, is by word of mouth, because that's what makes your foundation solid. So if you want to support the channel, support the channel. Do me that favor, everybody. If you like hearing your comments being read and answered, this channel is for you. Thank you so much, everybody. So that's really on the end of what I have for these, better lack of words, this situation. It's a very tough situation to be in, without a doubt. It's very tough because there's so many different things that are going on, and some things are not being done to protect those kids, and other things are being done to avoid detection of what those kids are going through. So you have to really think outside the box. And if you see something like that, look, if you're wrong, okay, you're wrong. Let's say you report something to the police and you say something. Let's say you go ahead and bring something up to somebody, right? And let's say they don't do nothing about it. At least in your mind, you know you tried, right? You tried. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. But if you do end up saying something and something is going wrong and it has to get straightened out, then you just probably save some lives there. Just something to think about. You know, there's always people out there that have it worse than us, without a doubt. Gene Landy says, thank you, everyone. April, no child deserves this. You see something, you say something, without a doubt, April. It is so important that you literally learn to be able to communicate. And when you feel something strong, say something, because that's something that you could have said could have made a difference, could have changed the trajectory, maybe for one, maybe for two, maybe for all. We don't know. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure that we go ahead and we're covering that to the best of our abilities. No child deserves this. You see something, you say something. Bob, plenty of missing kids in the country, but they were belonged, held captive by their own family with help from broken hearts, healthcare, and CPS system. L, prayers for those children, says L. Oh right, all right. Not a bad live. Really enjoyed the live. Enjoy being able to convey that information. We will stay on top of it. I may be going up to uh I may be going up to that direction in 90 miles south of Columbus, and in hopes of possibly going ahead and seeing what this house looks up close, what it looks like. And not only that, but seeing, how everything is, where everything is at, to get an idea how far you have to go to certain places. So I might be going up there here within the next few days. If you want to support the channel, please support the channel. Do me that favor. I worked in school for 30 years, and our schools take more care of the kids than parents. So sad, but true. Well said, April. Any poor kids don't know better because they don't know what they need, what they were brought into. Shame. I hope they find some kind peace, without a doubt. Any poor kids don't know better because that's what they were brought into. Shame. I hope they all find some kind of peace. April, go on summer break. April says on summer break, they are feeding all kids per made meals. That is awesome. That is awesome. Carol, there is the Venmo account. Thank you, Carol. Heather, great live. I'm in Ohio. Awesome. Awesome. What part of Ohio are you from, Heather? Thank you so much for being here. Miss Bryan, question. Were the children born with disabilities? The only one they mentioned was the conjoined twins that ended up dying right after birth, the conjoined twins, and the 18-year-old, their oldest, who has developmental um, developmental, for better lack of words, developmental handicap or um, disabilities, developmental disabilities, is the 18-year-old. That's the only ones that they mentioned. But good question. Carol, there's the Amazon wish list, everybody. Barney, some couldn't even speak or write their names. Northeast Ohio says Kara, awesome. Awesome. Heather, you got it. Pam Furlong, April, they do here. And also they started a program where they send back lunches home with the kids after they get out of school if they need be. Interesting. April, I'm next door in PA. Hoorah. April, Pam, yes, scenes. Same here. Chris, Didi, I will be emailing you the info for the unalived case the lady would like us to look into south of Boston. Sounds good to me, my friend. I appreciate that, Chris. I appreciate that, and we'll definitely do a deep dive in it. I live 15 minutes away from the house. You are all beautiful. I love and appreciate you. Thank you, Bob. If you like the channel, please subscribe, be a member. We're here all the time trying to keep updates with everything that is happening, from this case to Nancy Guthrie's case to all the cases that are happening around us. So if you want to be a member, we would love to have you, and we thank you for being here. Heather, right back at you, Bob. Amen. Well said. Well said. Bible, wonder if JR and wife are blood related. I don't think so, because the brother had came out of Elizabeth and said that he talked a little bit about her. I just don't have those quotes, but he talked a little bit about her and her situation. And his name was not that was not of the same as hers, obviously, because she's married. But it could have been her maiden name, but it did say her brother had made comments about why she was in the predicament she was in and whatnot. So I would say probably not, but anything is possible. We do know that in this world, anything is possible. Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is a great channel where everyone's thoughts and ideas count. Everybody's opinion matters because you all matter. You all matter because that's how we become smarter. When we have a lot of people on the channel, we're able to hear different views and opinions and ideas. And we're able to take different things and start thinking about different possibilities. And that's how you learn. All right. And here we have a very cordial chat. You don't see backfighting. Yeah, people going at it. We don't have time for that. We're all about this family. That's how we roll. Didi, who is the handsome guy on the wall? This handsome guy. This handsome guy is me, my friend. And there's my tank unit right behind there. Just got to pull out my old law enforcement pictures as well. But yes, sir, I could have been a poster child for the United States Marine Corps back in the day. That's a pretty handsome fellow there. If I don't say so myself. Thank you for the kind words, my brother. Al, great picture, Didi. Thank you, Al. Appreciate that. That light kind of like distorts a little bit, but it is what it is. It's all good. Okay, gotcha, Chris, Didi. Who is that handsome? Great picture, Didi. Prayers, analyze, Doug. What happened then, Chris? What happened is what always happens. We get older, man. Things happen. Or what is that one phrase everybody uses? Shit happens. Andy, bless you, DD. Still handsome. Thank you so much, Andy. I appreciate that. Great picture. Thank you, Marianne. April, DD, would love to see your Ellie pictures. I love a guy in uniform. I will definitely pull them out. I have to just go through the ding, getting them out and sorting them out. But I'll get some out for you all. No doubt about it. I love you, Uncle DD. I got you right back there, Chris. I appreciate you and everything you do in everything you have to offer. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. And everybody here, I just want to say thank you so much for participating and being here and helping the channel grow. Thank you for so much for giving back to this channel. And believe me, this channel will always give back to you because that's how we do things here. We're not the biggest. We're not the best, greatest size channel. But you know what we have? We have a team atmosphere. We have a group, a foundation that is built solid. And to me, when you're solid, your foundation is solid, everything around you is solid. That's not going to go nowhere, everybody. So we will continue to grow. We have been growing, and we will continue to grow. Simple as that. We will get to where we want to be without a doubt. In the future, if I figure out where I'd be going, to visit what place to do this, that, or the other, or to cover something, I will let you all know as well. With that, everybody, I'll see you guys at 5 p.m. God willing, I'll see you guys at 5 p.m. God bless you all, and thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Tell Mrs. Didi, thanks for sharing you with us. Sure will, Bible, no, without a doubt. Oleg said this happened in the past. Found a baby died of starvation back in the past. Wow. not surprising. They're up there. These cases happen all over, to be honest. Chris channel. If you haven't subscribed to Chris's channel, please do. DD and Chris work great together. Yes, we do. Make sure you subscribe to Chris. Let's talk with Chris. He's got a great channel as well, and he's like me. We're just starting out. Marianne, have a great day. Bye, everyone. Bible, we all are a great thinkers, without a doubt. Well said, Bible. Legacy Empire prayers. Thank you, Legacy Empire. Like I said, if you guys want to be a subscriber, subscribe. Be a member. We're going to start incorporating a lot of things for members only. And that's just because, you guys deserve it. So I just want to let you guys know that just trying to get our feet off the ground. Have a good day, everybody. I will hear off and on a spotty until Sunday, but hope to see you all when I can. You got it, L. Welcome, everybody. You are all welcome. We'll see you at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for being here. April, please like and subscribe. And let's talk with Chris. Great team. Chris and DD, you got that right. L, thanks, Heather. Glad you found us. Have a wonderful day. Carol, there's the YouTube, everybody. There is Chris's YouTube channel to subscribe to him. April, same mods on Chris too, because we love him too. Well said. Thank you, everybody. All right. God bless everybody. Remember, we'll figure it out. You know why? Because that's what we do. We figure it out because it's all common sense. Everything is common sense. And that's how we do things. Semper Fi, everybody. God bless.